Discover the miraculous judgment of fallen angels, God's plan for creation and redemption unfolded. In the days long before the first creation of man, in the 3rd year of Jehoiakim, the celestial realm vibrated with profound radiance. The heavenly host adorned the skies, resplendent with glory. Yet beneath the shimmering facade lay a trembling current of treachery. Lucifer, the brightest of all angels, stood enthroned in the presence of God, the Most High. However, his pride nestled within, a blasphemous seed that corrupts the best of intentions. Bitter whispers of rebellion began to form on his lips, igniting unrest among the assembled multitude. As whispers spread, a throng of angels, entranced by Lucifer's eloquence, turned their eyes from the throne. A divine rift began to form. A third of the heavenly host followed him, cascading into darkness that swallowed the light. Their fall resonated throughout the cosmos, echoing a fierce urgency, as creation refracted under the weight of this celestial upheaval. The stage was set for an eternal conflict between good and evil, a war that would echo through ages. Fast forward to the days of Noah, amidst the lush hills of the ancient Near East, where wickedness enveloped the hearts of men like a thick fog. The land once teeming with life was now marked by violence and depravity, causing the heart of God to ache, as described in Genesis 6:5-6. Amidst this chaos, Noah stood out, a beacon of righteousness, though surrounded by the corrupt and faithless. The shadow of the rebellion loomed over humanity, for the demons roamed the earth, relentless in their quest to corrupt the hearts of the faithful. One day, as Noah diligently toiled in his fields, he silently prayed, "O God, where is the hope for our people? Where is the promise of restoration?" In this moment, God spoke to him, calling him not just a righteous man, but one chosen for a magnificent plan of salvation. It was revealed to Noah that a great flood would cleanse the earth, a divine judgment upon those who had turned away from God. Yet, amidst this storm of wrath, God promised a covenant that would herald a new beginning. As Noah labored over the wooden ark, his mind raced with questions. Would he have the strength to lead? Would his faith be enough? The laughter of the wicked echoed around him, chilling and mocking his calling. Yet in that derision, remnants of a promise lingered. God's sovereignty would guide him through the imminent storm. Drawing deeply into prayer, Noah's heart surged with a blend of trepidation and hope. He envisioned a renewed earth, unmarred by rebellion, a world alive with knowledge of the Lord. However, the shadows of fallen angels, now demons, prowled like lions, seeking to devour all that was good. As the skies darkened and the rains began to pour, the tension reached a fever pitch. Floodwaters surged, threatening to engulf the land, as Noah stood at the threshold of salvation, a beacon, resolute keeper of God's promise. In that pivotal moment, he breathed deep, his heart steadying with resolve. Would faith in a sovereign God usher in the redemption he passionately sought? Or would the clutches of darkness obscure the dawn of a new covenant? Before we continue with this incredible biblical account, I want to make sure you don't miss any of these powerful scripture stories. Click the bell icon and select all notifications. These biblical narratives have transformed countless lives throughout history. If God's word through this story is blessing you, please like and share with someone who needs to hear about God's faithfulness today. Tell me in the comments, which biblical story has most impacted your faith journey? I'm always amazed how God's word speaks to hearts across generations. Now, let's continue with what the Lord did next. As the floodgates opened, the line between judgment and mercy blurred. Would God's great plan unfold through this dark chapter, or would the forces of darkness prove too deeply entrenched? In the tumultuous waves of doubt and divine promise, Noah stood firm, ready to witness the intricate weaving of judgment and grace in the story that unfolded before him. The mystery of God's plan lingered in the air, pregnant with expectation, setting the stage for unprecedented revelation. As the deluge swept over the earth, a symphony of thunder roared, and the heavens wept in anguish. The relentless rain battered the land, the waters rising like a ravenous beast, seeking to claim all that had turned away from the Creator. Within the ark, a sanctuary of wood and divine promise, Noah and his family gathered, the weight of their mission resting heavy upon their hearts. In Genesis 7:17-20, it was recorded that the floodwaters prevailed upon the earth for 150 days. During this time, all creation appeared silenced, wrapped in the shroud of God's judgment. Yet in that prolonged darkness, the tendrils of hope began to wane, as the cries of the righteous became but echoes in the storm. Would God's mercy cut through this veil of despair? As the ark rocked upon the waves, Noah sought refuge in prayer. He looked toward the heavens and lifted his voice. "O Lord, remember your covenant. You have spoken of deliverance. Let me see your hand work now. In your mercy, extinguish the wrath we face, for I am but a servant." The weight of the storm challenged his resolve, yet amidst the chaos, a still small voice whispered assurance to his soul. "Trust in my word. Every drop of rain carries a promise." Thus Noah steadied himself once more, no longer a mere vessel of wood, but a steward of divine hope. Days turned into nights, and the heavens wept. The flood's ferocity, a manifestation of judgment, was tempered by the echo of grace. In the depths of the waters, the souls that had mocked the righteous were engulfed, consumed by their own defiance. Yet Noah and his family clung to faith, borne aloft by the providential hand of God. As promised in Genesis 9:15, God's covenant approached, and the earth lay poised on the brink of rebirth. After the flood, the ark rested upon the mountains of Ararat, and Noah's heart echoed the ancient prophecies. "O Lord, will you not bring forth life anew?" When at last the rain ceased, a hush fell upon the waters. The moment resonated with a profound silence as Noah opened the window of the ark and peered into the world transformed. Puffs of mist still hung like veils over the earth, obscuring the remnants of what was. Like a gardener waiting for the first bloom, Noah's hope ignited anew, and he cautiously released a raven, yet it found no place to rest. Days later, he released a dove, a symbol of peace and promise. In the arms of the Creator, that dove returned, a freshly plucked olive leaf held in its beak, beckoning forth a new beginning. The message was clear: life would spring forth again from the ashes of destruction. In that moment, a revelation unfolded. God spoke, his voice resonating through the sacred caverns of Noah's heart. "As I have cleansed the earth and washed away its filth, so too shall I establish my covenant between me and you and every living thing." Genesis 9:12-13. As Noah stepped into a world reborn, he grasped the weight of his calling. Would the hearts of the next generation heed the warnings of the past? Would they remember the covenant that now hung upon the horizon like a distant star? Yet, deep within the crevices of the earth, the whispers of the fallen still echoed in the shadow. Their cunning schemes lay bare, and the specter of rebellion loomed. The subtle seed of doubt, woven through the hearts of men, still sought to choke the life of faith. What unseen battles would rage in the hearts of those who inhabited this renewed earth? Could it be that the covenant established with Noah was merely the beginning of a far grander plan? A design crafted before the foundations of the world, a perfect blending of judgment and mercy, hinting at a greater redemption yet to unfold. The tapestry of creation continued to weave, fraught with divine suspense, as the silent echoes of eternity called forth a reckoning long awaited. And it came to pass that, as the waters receded and a new dawn broke upon the earth, the land lay glistening, still moist from the remnants of the flood. Noah, stepping forth from the ark, felt the warmth of the sun upon his face and breathed in the fresh, fragrant air. The rhythmic song of birds echoed in the distance, a melody of praise to their Creator. His heart swelled with gratitude, for God had indeed remembered his covenant. In that sacred moment, Noah built an altar unto the Lord, as described in Genesis 8:20, taking of every clean beast and of every clean fowl, and offered burnt offerings on the altar. As the smoke rose, a fragrant aroma filled the heavens, and God's heart was moved. He spoke, declaring, "I will not again curse the ground for man's sake, for the imagination of man's heart is evil from his youth. Neither will I again smite any more every living thing as I have done." Genesis 8:21. Thus peace was established, and the words of the Almighty echoed with promise. Noah faced his family, his beloved wife, his sons and their wives, their hearts united in purpose. He had been chosen to lead them in a renewed covenant with God. With solemnity, he spoke of their role in the restoration of life, plants, animals, and all creation. We must be fruitful and multiply, fill the earth and steward it well, for the Lord has blessed us. Genesis 9:1. However, unbeknownst to them, the darkness of rebellion lingered in the air. In the unseen realms, the fallen ones, those who once knew the splendor of heaven, stirred restlessly. Driven by envy and spite, they plotted, seeking ways to undermine the fragile hope that had been kindled upon the earth once more. Their whispers roamed like shadows, seeking to loom over the hearts of men. Days passed, and Noah and his family began to settle. The earth flourished under their care, and seeds planted yielded bountiful fruit. Yet, as the days turned into years, a sense of unease began to rise. Noah perceived changes amongst his children. One day, as he walked through the fields, he caught sight of his son Ham, who was speaking with a stranger, an enigmatic figure cloaked in darkness. Fear gripped Noah's heart, for he sensed the presence of deceit. "Who is this man?" Noah called out, approaching with caution. The figure turned, eyes glinting with malice. "I bear no ill will, old man," he said, yet his words dripped with cunning. "I bring wisdom from those who have submitted to the shadows. You think yourself the first of a new generation, but the past holds mysteries that can guide you." Noah, filled with righteous indignation, replied, "We have been delivered from the flood. The Lord has promised never to destroy the earth again. Your words are laced with treachery." But the stranger merely smiled, for he knew that the battleground was not merely of flesh, but of spirit. That night, as the stars shone brightly against the darkened sky, Noah and his family gathered again, seeking the counsel of the Lord through prayer. Yet the struggle weighed heavily on his heart. He understood that the covenant offered by God would be tested, and the choices of his lineage could ripple through generations. Noah looked towards the heavens, whispering, "O Lord, grant wisdom to this house. Help us guard against the lurking shadows, for I fear for the hearts of my children." And as he spoke, the voice of God resonated within him once more. "Remember, Noah, the intentions of man's heart will always be a mystery to behold, but my covenant remains, eternal and steadfast, for I have set a rainbow in the cloud as a sign of my grace." Genesis 9:13-15. Yet a lingering question struck Noah. Could the covenant that bound them to God serve as a safeguard against the temptation of darkness? As he contemplated, a shudder ran through him. The tale of redemption was far from over, for the rebellion of the fallen would not rest quietly in the shadows. What greater plan does God weave through the fabric of humanity? What destiny awaited the generations to come, as they strove to walk the narrow path amidst whispers of desolation and doubt? Noah felt the weight of their story pressing on him, and as the winds began to shift, the promise of a reckoning loomed ever closer, heralding a revelation yet to unfurl. And it came to pass that Noah awoke with a troubled spirit. The whispers of the shadows haunted his thoughts, and he found no rest in the tranquil beauty of the earth. The sun rose with its brilliance, but within him a tempest brewed. He saw the fruitful fields, yet felt a fearful uncertainty lurking beneath the surface of their new beginning. Noah gathered his sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, underneath the great oak that had survived the flood. "My sons," he said gravely, "we must be vigilant and watchful. An unseen peril seeks to return to the hearts of men. Let us fortify our spirits in the ways of the Lord and remember the power of prayer." Ham, youthful and curious, looked upon his father with questioning eyes. "Father, what danger do you speak of? Has not the Lord kept his promise?" Noah nodded solemnly. "Indeed, his promise is everlasting, yet the heart of man is drawn to the darkness. We are called to bear witness to the light. Let us not forsake the path of righteousness." As the days turned into weeks, the family endeavored to cultivate their lives. They built a homestead, tilled the soil, and tended to the creatures of the earth. The air was filled with laughter and the sounds of joyous labor. Nevertheless, a chill crept into Noah's soul, and so he sought refuge in prayer. One evening, as the sun set in hues of crimson and gold, Noah sought the Lord upon the altar he had constructed. The animals watched in stillness as he knelt, pouring out his heart. "O Lord, reveal to me the plans of the adversary. Equip us to stand firm, for I fear that the words of the stranger linger among my children." As he prayed, a great calm settled upon the land, and the voice of the Lord came to him like a gentle breeze. "Noah, do not fear, for I am with you. Have I not commanded you to be strong and of good courage? The hearts of men are indeed fickle, but I am the Eternal One, and my plans shall not falter." After this communion, Noah arose, renewed in spirit, yet burdened by an unspoken truth. He turned toward his sons, who were gathered nearby. "My beloved children, heed these words. The Lord has assured me of his presence, yet we must remain steadfast in faith and caution against the shadows." Time continued to unfurl like the petals of a blooming flower, yet the insidious influence persisted, sowing discord among Noah's kin. It was Ham who became entangled in the stranger's webs of persuasion, drawn to the allure of rebellion. "Father, the world is vast and full of wonders," Ham exclaimed one afternoon, his spirit emboldened. "Why should we be bound by the ancient ways of covenant when there are secrets yet to be discovered?" Noah's heart sank, and a deep sadness washed over him. "Son, the allure of knowledge can lead to destruction. The wisdom we seek is safeguarded in obedience to the Lord. Do not follow the siren call of the fallen. Their knowledge is tainted, and their end is ruin." Yet Ham, emboldened by the whispers of the stranger, turned away, and Noah trembled as he watched his sons stride down a path of peril. That night, while the stars glimmered with a celestial light, Noah remained awake, pleading with God against the encroaching darkness that sought to corrupt his lineage. "Ensure, O Lord, that the heritage you have blessed shall not be cast aside or defiled by ambition or pride." And just then, in the depths of his anguish, a vision unfolded before him. A great multitude stood amidst diverse nations, held in the grip of choice. From the shadows, the whispers surged forth, but above them, the radiant light of the Almighty shone like a beacon, calling to every heart. Noah fell prostrate before the Lord, gasping, "What does this mean, O Lord?" The answer echoed within, resonating like thunder. "From your descendants shall arise a new covenant, a promise of restoration. But will they heed my call amidst the distractions of their hearts?" In that moment, the weight of God's sovereign plan pressed upon Noah, revealing not just the echoes of his choices, but the endless ripple of generations yet to come. The darkness had not retreated, but instead stirred with rebellious intent, heralding a conflict divine. What would become of his legacy? As dawn began to break anew, a sense of divine urgency filled the air. What path would Ham choose? For in the depths of choice lay the unfolding of God's redemptive mystery, for the battle lines, both seen and unseen, were being drawn anew. And it came to pass that as the dawn brightened the heavens, Noah's heart was heavy with the uncertainty of Ham's path. The gentle breeze carried whispers of the old world, reminders of the wickedness that had brought judgment upon the earth. Shem and Japheth, too, sensed the shift in their brother's spirit, and gathered to counsel him. Ham, Shem implored with grave concern, the allure of knowledge you seek is mingled with bitterness. Have you forgotten the covenant the Lord made with our father? His promise sustains us, and the ruin you chase may lead to more than we can bear. Ham's eyes sparkled with defiance as he retorted, But wisdom is found in understanding all paths, Shem. What if there are truths unknown that can unlock greater strength? Are we to hide in the shadows of what was? Japheth stepped forward, his voice steady. Brother, true strength resides in the obedience to the Lord's will. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, Proverbs 9:10. Seek not the deceitful treasures of the fallen, for their end is but destruction. Yet Ham's heart was hardened, drawn to the seduction of secrets and the dark knowledge that shimmered just out of grasp. Thus he turned away from his brothers, venturing further into the woods that framed their homestead, where the shadows whispered promises of power and enlightenment. In those woods Ham encountered a figure cloaked in darkness, a being whose voice wrapped around him like a shroud. Why does your heart toil under the weight of obedience, when the universe holds mysteries meant for the brave? Come, seek wisdom unbound by covenant. Who are you? Ham asked breathlessly, caught between fear and fascination. I am the harbinger of knowledge, the figure breathed, and I shall show you the paths that lead to freedom. Cast aside these chains of fear and embrace what is yours by right. Meanwhile, Noah, burdened by the chasm growing between his sons, poured out his soul to the Lord, beseeching him for guidance. O Lord, why does my heart grow heavy with worry for Ham? Speak to me, what shall I do? And again the Lord's voice came, more like a storm now. Noah, I have set before you life and death, Deuteronomy 30:19, and your sons must choose their own paths. Yet know this, I am the God who redeems, and even in their rebellion my hand is not shortened. Days passed, and Ham's heart grew colder, wrapped in the threads of deceit. All the while, Shem and Japheth remained vigilant, encouraged by their father's steadfast prayers, gathering the provisions needed for their future. The seasons turned, and as they reaped the harvest, they felt a tension in the air, a battle brewing unseen. And it came to pass that a great storm gathered, churning on the horizon. Noah, sensing the imminent conflict of wills, called a family meeting. He spoke with the weight of a father and a prophet. My sons, the time has come for vigilance. It is not only the earth that faces judgment, but the hearts of men as well. We are in peril. Let us stay united. Gather together, for our strength lies in the bond of our covenant with God. Ham, agitated and rebellious, scoffed. Father, you speak of chains when our very existence may hold the power to shape the world. Why bow to an unseen will when I can carve out my destiny? Noah's spirit sank as he discerned the fracture beneath their unity. Beware, Ham, for what you claim as destiny may lead you into despair. The knowledge you seek is but a facade, a silken thread to bind you to folly. Yet Ham, unyielding, decided that he would advance alone, propelled by the dark promises he had entertained. But the ground trembled beneath his feet, as if creation itself sensed the rupture threatening the family's legacy. As Noah prayed through the tempest, the vision of the multitude returned, stronger now, revealing a twisting path across ages yet to come. Men and women choosing light or darkness, the eternal struggle echoing through the halls of time. "Lord," Noah cried out, "I see the path diverging, but what will be the fate of my lineage? Will the choices of my sons carry the weight of your covenant, or is there a reckoning awaiting us?" The divine response resounded within him. The choice has always lain within the hearts of man. Will they cling to the light, or will they abandon it to embrace the shadows? The sovereign plan unfolds. The glory and the strife of generations hang in the balance. Thus, in the storm of hearts and the clash of destinies, the threads of God's sovereign plan began to weave a tapestry for creation and redemption, revealing that in every choice a ripple would stir the vast waters of the future. What would the path of Ham reveal in the shadow of his father's faith? For the journey was only just beginning. And it came to pass that in the days following Ham's departure into the shadows of the woods, the weight of his decisions bore heavily upon the hearts of Shem and Japheth. Their father, Noah, continued in fervent prayer, calling upon the Lord for deliverance not just from the storm that brewed above, but from the tempest that raged within their family. Shem, burdened with concern, spoke softly to his brother, "Japheth, we must not abandon our brother to his folly. What if he is led astray? We must be vigilant, and perhaps the Lord will grant him mercy should he turn back to us." "Aye," Japheth replied, "but we must also prepare for the worst. If the storm arises, we need to stand firm in the faith we've inherited. Let us strengthen one another as we remain steadfast in obedience." As they gathered the last of their provisions, the winds howled outside, a forewarning of the chaos that lay ahead. The heavens darkened, and a great shadow fell over the land, as a multitude of dark forms coalesced in the gloom. From the depths of the woods a voice echoed, laced with malice and deceit. "Ham, come forth. Do you not hear the call of true knowledge?" The figure, shrouded in shadows, beckoned to Ham with a voice smooth as silk, but laced with poison. "Your brothers cling to the past, yet you have the power to seize the future. Cast off their chains and embrace the true power that lies in understanding the hidden ways of the universe." And as Ham stood there, captivated, his heart wrestled between the truths he had been taught and the intoxicating lure of hidden wisdom. The darkness around him pulsed with promise, whispering of glory and strength. "Do you not desire to be great, Ham, to rise above the meekness imposed upon you?" "Greatness?" he murmured, uncertainty creeping into his heart. In that moment the ground trembled beneath him, and the sky flashed with a fierce light, as if creation itself protested the deceit that sought to ensnare him. "Ham, behold, do not heed the voice of the deceiver," came Noah's voice in the wind, seasoned with divine urgency. "The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. Return to your roots, for the love of the Father is your true path." At once Ham was torn, for in the depths of his being he sensed the terror of the chasm widening between him and his family. Would he heed the voices of the night, or would he return to the light? Meanwhile, Noah, sensing a shift in the spiritual atmosphere, rose to his feet and declared over his household, "As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord." Joshua 24:15. "I call upon the covenant of God, that he may restore our family. O Lord, yield to me the heart of our wayward son." The winds stilled, the clouds shifted, and an eerie silence descended, as though time itself awaited the response to Noah's plea. "Thy words have power, Noah," the gentle voice of the Lord penetrated the stillness. "For I have seen your heart's lament. But know this, the path of your son must be forged by his own decision.
I will provide opportunities for redemption, yet the heart that hardens must feel the weight of its choice. As these words echoed within Noah's spirit, a brilliant light illuminated the forest. It pierced through the shadows like dawn triumphing over a long night, revealing the way back home. The darkness recoiled, and Ham's tumultuous heart cried out, battling between the two realms. "Behold, Ham!" Shem and Japheth's voices, filled with unwavering faith, rang clear against the murmurings of the fallen. "Come home, brother! There is love in our unity. The echoes of the darkness cannot satisfy. It leads only to death." In that moment of collision between light and shadow, Ham made his choice, but the path ahead remained shrouded in uncertainty. And thus God's sovereign plan unfolded, a weaving of grace amidst rebellion. While Ham stood at the threshold of his destiny, the future lay uncertain, ripe with the potential for both ruin and redemption. Would he embrace the light and the love of his family, or would he continue into the depths of darkness? The answer lingered in the air, a whisper from the heavens.
For on the path of choices, the destinies of generations trembled. What would this moment of decision birth in the annals of time? And it came to pass that as Ham stood at the precipice of his choice, the very forces of nature seemed to hold their breath. The shadows loomed larger, pulsating with an ominous energy, while the distant sound of thunder rumbled like a warning from the heavens. A great weight settled upon Ham's shoulders, the gravity of his decision starkly illuminated by the light that thrummed in the air. What is true wisdom? He pondered. The path of darkness whispered sweetly, "Greatness awaits you, dear Ham. Seize it." Yet the tender voices of his brothers, unyielding in love and remembrance, beckoned him back. "Remember the days of our youth, Ham," Shem implored, his voice a soft balm against the discord. "When we walked in the light of our father's instruction, how we were shielded from the death that lies in error." "But what if the light is blinding?" Ham challenged, his heart a tempest of confusion. As though in answer, a brilliant flash cracked through the darkened skies, and the heavens trembled. A voice like roaring waters echoed through the valley. "Ham, beloved of Noah, you stand at a crossroad. To your left lies the path of ruin, where remorse dwells eternal. To your right, the way of righteousness, illuminated by faith and grace. Choose your step wisely, for the consequences of your choice shall ripple through the ages." Thus in that moment Ham's heart quaked. He saw the specter of destruction etched upon the faces of his brothers, the sorrow that would follow should he choose the way of darkness. The memories of joy shared with his family, of obedience and love, flickered before him like stars in the night sky, drawing him irresistibly towards the light. "Lord of all creation," he whispered, the desperation of his spirit rising, "guide me. I am but a man torn between treachery and truth." In the midst of this inner struggle, a brilliance surrounded Noah, who, raising his hands toward the heavens, interceded for his son. "O God, grant Ham a vision of your purpose. May he not be ensnared by the allure of false wisdom, but instead embraced by the truth that leads to life." The ground beneath Ham shifted as the light from above pierced through the shadows, illuminating not just his surroundings, but the depths of his heart. Memories flooded him, the laughter of family, and the stories of their forefathers, the very covenant the Lord had made with them. "Ham, beloved son," came the voice of the Lord once more, echoing above the chaos. "Though the darkness seeks to consume you, I am ever near. For I have created you for a purpose far greater than your own ambition. Come forth into the light, for I am faithful to redeem." As the tempest of decision raged, Ham felt a rush of clarity. He stepped back from the encroaching shadows, resolving to embrace his family and stand against the darkness that promised fleeting glory. I choose life. I choose my brothers. I choose the way that leads to the Father. Shem and Japheth rushed to him, their hearts full of relief and joy. "Welcome back, brother," they exclaimed, enveloping him in a powerful embrace that spoke of forgiveness and renewed commitment. But even as they rejoiced amidst the gathering storm, a dark presence stirred in the woods. The shadows that had once offered Ham their deceptive comfort writhed in anger, hissing like serpents. The voice of the deceiver echoed ominously. "You have forsaken the power of knowledge. Know this, I will not let you go without consequence, and the path of your family is yet fraught with peril." As the deep darkness coiled around them, Noah, with resolute faith, stood firm. "The Lord is our guide. He shall deliver us from every snare. His promise will encompass us, for He knows the plans He has for us, plans for hope and a future." And thus the air thickened with anticipation, for the forces of light and darkness prepared to clash, unveiling the depths of God's sovereign plan. Would the redemption spread amongst Noah's family withstand the wrath of the fallen, or would they face a judgment that threatened to sever their bond forever? The question vibrated in the air, a clarion call for divine intervention, leaving hearts a-fluttering in holy suspense, for the unfolding of God's glorious purpose was just beginning. And it came to pass that as the shadows writhed like restless serpents, the air grew thick with foreboding, enveloping Noah and his sons. The voice of the deceiver, filled with bitterness and scorn, slithered through the trees, echoing an ancient struggle against the light. "Know this, your choice has awakened wrath. The darkness will seek to reclaim what it believes is its own." Ham, emboldened by the embrace of his brothers, turned towards the dense woods, heart pounding with righteous indignation. "We will not be moved. We have chosen the way of the Lord." As his voice rang out, echoing into the void, the echoes of his declaration locked arms with faith, pushing back against the oppressive weight that sought to crush them. Shem gazed at his father, eyes full of determination. "Father, what must we do? The enemy encroaches, and we are but men without your strength." Noah looked to the heavens, his heart lifted in prayer. "O Lord, shield us in this hour. Your promise is our fortress. Your word is our sword. Equip us for battle as we stand against the forces of darkness." Suddenly, a great wind rushed through the valley, swirling around them, and a deep rumble resonated as if the very heavens opened. The energy pulsed in waves of divine authority, causing the trees to bow and the earth to tremble beneath their feet. And in that moment, the spirits of the ancients whispered through. The rustling leaves, bringing tales of olden victories over evil. "Fear not, sons of Noah," a voice thundered amidst the storm, deep and resonant, emanating from the midst of the light. "For just as I brought forth a flood to cleanse the earth, I shall pour out my Spirit upon you. Your stand for righteousness shall not be in vain. The hour of reckoning draws near." Ham felt a surge of courage as he stood alongside his brothers, united in silent prayer and resolve. "We claim the victory that you have already secured, for your promises are yes and amen." As the words left his lips, the shadows recoiled, and a palpable silence descended upon the forest. The demonic murmurs faded into hushed whispers, morphing into shrieks of anger. "Your faith will be your downfall," they hissed, retreating further into the darkness, yet their presence looming persistently like a storm cloud yet to break. But in that very moment of retreat, a new light emerged, radiant and fierce.
A celestial host descended, angelic beings of unfathomable might, wielding swords forged from faith and truth. Their presence illuminated the landscape, driving back the cloak of night, releasing a triumphant chorus of heavenly voices. "Arise, favored ones, for the battle is the Lord's," they proclaimed, the sound reverberating through the valley, stoking the flame of resolute faith within Ham and his brothers. As the clash of heaven and hell enveloped the land, the earth split open in violent cracks, revealing a path of light leading toward the sanctity of the covenant. Noah raised his staff, eyes fixed on the radiant wonders, declaring, "Our hearts belong to the Most High. We will step into your promise." And thus, as courage surged within them, the choice made in faith reverberated like the beating of a mighty heart. The question of their fateful calling echoed through creation itself, leaving them aware that a divine plan was unfolding before their eyes, shaping destinies anew. What lay ahead remained shrouded in mystery, for the battle was not yet won, nor the final victory secured. The dark whispers lingered, as if weaving a fabric of complex trials and divine revelations, yet there lay a promise beyond temptation, a promise guiding them towards an eternal purpose that would define not only their lineage, but the redemption of nations yet to come. And as they braced for what awaited, a glimmer of hope pierced through the chaos. "For I will perform wonders that none can fathom, making straight the paths of my chosen ones." The promise rang unbroken in their hearts. The sovereign purpose of God was ever at hand, awaiting the faithful response of his beloved. And it came to pass, as Noah and his sons stood upon the brink of revelation, the light from the celestial host began to weave a tapestry of hope across the darkened sky. The air hummed with an electric anticipation, stirring their spirits as they gazed down the luminous path that stretched before them.
"Father," Shem spoke, his voice steady yet reverent, "what is it that we are to do upon this path? The enemy recoils, but we sense their despair is but a trick of the light." Noah, deeply moved by the vision unfolding, felt the weight of sacred duty upon his shoulders. "We must walk in obedience, my sons, for every step taken in faith shall echo through the ages. Our choices are the seeds that determine the harvest of generations to come." As they took their first steps on the glowing path, the ground trembled beneath, and the heavens responded with a glorious roar. The celestial beings took their positions on either side, forming a protective barrier, their swords gleaming like stars in the cosmic canvas overhead. Suddenly, from the depths of darkness, shadows coalesced into grotesque forms, howling in rage. "Do you not see? Your defiance stirs the wrath of the ancients. You tread upon cursed ground," they screeched, the very air thick with their poison. But Ham, emboldened by their father's words, raised his voice above the clamor, declaring, "Our God is mightier than any darkness. In his name we stand united against this onslaught." The strength of his conviction pierced through the howls, causing waves of hesitation among the adversaries. The angelic choir surged forth, their harmonies intertwining with the fervor of Noah's family. "For the Lord your God is a consuming fire. He is a jealous God," they sang, enveloping the scene in divine music that cradled the weary and fortified the brave. Then, like the splitting of the Red Sea, the path illuminated before them expanded, revealing ancient stones inscribed with prophecies long hidden. Each step echoed with tales of promise and judgment, revealing the nature of the covenant, an everlasting bond sealed by the blood of the Lamb. Noah kneeled before the stones, tracing the characters with trembling hands, his heart racing with understanding. "Behold, the plan unfolds, for God has said, 'I will bring forth one who shall crush the head of the serpent,' Genesis 3:15. This is not merely our fight, it is the unveiling of the very redemption of mankind. A sudden trembling quaked through the air, and the shadows writhed in agony as the truth of the prophecy struck fear into their hearts. "You shall not prevail," the darkness raged, as it spiraled in chaotic disarray. Shem felt a surge of divine inspiration. "Look, Father, the stones, they illuminate with the light of heaven. Each inscription beckons us closer to the heart of God." As the boys gathered nearer, the inscriptions transformed into beams of light, cascading upon their souls and igniting them with purpose. Their identities were rooted not in fear, but in the call of their Maker, destined to be warriors of faith. Ham turned towards his brothers, recognition dawning in his eyes. "Is this not the purpose of our lineage? To uphold the covenant through trials? To echo the promises no shadows may silence?" "Indeed," Noah affirmed, raising his, "our faith shall redefine history, for we are the progenitors of a new covenant. As we press further, our steps shall shake the gates of hell, for we walk not alone. The power of the Almighty goes before us." At that moment, a voice thundered from on high. "I have set before you life and death, blessings and curses. Choose life so that you and your children may live." Deuteronomy 30:19. The weight of this decree resounded throughout creation, binding the past with a promise for the future. As the earth continued to tremble and the angelic host surrounded them in radiant glory, a new understanding dawned upon their hearts, stirring an eagerness to fulfill God's mission. As they took their steps onto the path illuminated before them, they marveled at the mysteries still to unfold, surrounded by light and shadow, the eternal dance of divine and human will. And just as the radiant pathway beckoned them onward, a stirring within their spirits whispered of yet another unveiled plan. "For I am doing a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it?" echoed a truth, trembling across time, planting seeds of hope for a world awaiting the touch of grace, amplifying the divine sovereign purpose yet to be revealed. And it came to pass that as Noah and his sons journeyed upon the sacred path illuminated with the light of God's promise, a profound stillness enveloped the land. The celestial host surrounded them, a testament to the unfolding of divine truth and purpose. Each step forward resonated with the echoes of ancient prophecies, promises whispered through time, reminding them of their eternal calling. "Father," Shem said, his heart ablaze with fervor, "is this not the very essence of our journey? To uphold the covenant and stand firmly in the light of his faithfulness?" Noah nodded, pride swelling in his heart as he gazed at his sons. "Indeed, my beloved sons, in this covenant we shall find our strength. It is a legacy handed down, and now our faith shall ignite the spirits of the generations to come." As they pressed forward along the luminescent path, the darkness behind them writhed with frustration. The remnant of evil that had sought to ensnare them in sorrow and despair recoiled, but whispered deceptions, attempting to sow seeds of doubt within their hearts. "You are but men, frail and weak. The shadows of your past will rise again," muffed the voice of the deceiver. But Noah responded with unwavering faith. "We are not defined by our struggles, but by the Maker who is with us." Then, upon the path, they encountered a great and mighty river, the waters sparkling like precious jewels under the sun. The river marked the threshold to a new land, one rich with promise and abundant life, a land echoing the whispers of their forefathers, speaking of blessings yet to unfold.
As they stood before it, their hearts awakened with hope. "Behold, the land that flows
With milk and honey!" Japheth exclaimed, his voice infused with anticipation. "It is here that we shall fulfill our purpose." Noah turned towards his sons and raised his hands to the heavens. "O Lord, grant us the strength to venture into this new beginning. May we uphold the covenant and carry forth your word into this land, and may generations flow from our union, carrying the light of truth to all who dwell in darkness." As they stepped into the river, the waters parted before them, reflecting their faith like a mirror, revealing not only their present but their future, the bridging of two worlds, that of shadow and light, rebellion and redemption. The current swirled around them, and they felt the weight of the past lift, replaced with the splendor of grace. And amidst this miraculous unfolding, darkness whispered one final challenge. Will you truly follow the way of righteousness, or will you fall once more into the entrapments of pride and ambition? Yet in that powerful moment, Ham stood courageous and resolute. "We choose life, we choose faith," he declared. And at this utterance, a radiant light burst forth from the heavens, engulfing the three men, banding them together in a holy embrace of divine purpose, transcending the struggles of their lineage. With renewed vigor, the promises of the covenant took root in their hearts. They envisioned a community founded on faith, a kingdom where harmony and righteousness reigned. From their union would spring forth a new generation, one filled with seekers of truth, proclaimers of light, destined to lead others from the grips of despair into the embrace of the Almighty. As they emerged from the river, now standing on the verdant shores of a new beginning, the firmament throbbed with expectation. The angels sang a celestial chorus, and the land rejoiced, reflecting the glory of their decision to follow the footsteps of the Almighty. The covenant reaffirmed, the promise renewed. Noah lifted his staff high and proclaimed, "From this day forth we declare that as God has been faithful to us, so shall we be faithful to His calling. Our legacy shall weave a tapestry of hope through the annals of time." With their hearts aligned and their spirits fortified, Noah and his sons stepped into this promised land, ready to face whatever trials awaited them, for they were now bearers of the covenant and champions of light in a world yearning for redemption. The battle had been fierce, yet it had revealed a divine truth. The path to restoration was wreathed in faith, and their legacy had only just begun. As the sun began to set over the horizon, a brilliant canvas of oranges and golds, the future glimmered bright before them, leading them toward a destiny not just for their family, but for all creation calling out for deliverance. And thus the sacred narrative of their lives wove seamlessly into the greater tapestry of God's eternal plan, a divine promise fulfilled in the hearts of His people, declaring the glory of redemption
that stood ready to rise within the world. Dear friends, as we reflect on this powerful account of God's sovereignty in creation and redemption, now is the moment to invite His light into your life. You need to subscribe now to stay connected to God's Word and the unfolding of eternal truths in your own journey. Leave a like now to help spread God's Word through the algorithm, allowing this message to reach more souls seeking hope and truth. Comment below and share your spiritual reflections. How has this biblical story impacted your faith journey? And don't wait even one more second to share this powerful testimony with at least 5 friends who need to hear God's truth. Let us spread the message of divine hope and redemption together, igniting hearts in the light of His love.